Hi YouTube. I'm going to go over this morning how to properly disassemble and clean a Smith & Wesson M&P pistol. This is going to be a very basic video, but there's a couple of points I want to make. I got some good feedback on my rifle cleaning videos that I did a while back. I thought this would be a good basic cleaning video for pistols in general and for the M&P in particular. And with the disassembly, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about that sometimes people forget or that they have some trouble with. And I thought this would be an easy way to go about it. So let's take a look at the pistol and see exactly what we're dealing with. This is my duty pistol, Smith & Wesson Military&Police model. This pistol is chambered in .40 Smith & Wesson. Very reliable pistol, very good design. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about how we want to disassemble it. I've already safety checked it, made sure that there's no magazine in, there's no ammunition in the chamber, nothing in the magazine well. So once that's done, in order to disassemble the pistol, it's very easy as long as you remember one thing. That is, inside the ejection port, it'll be very difficult to see, there is a small lever that's located right here. You have to reach in with a tool and flip that lever down. And once I disassemble the slide or remove the slide, I'll show you that lever a little closer. It's easier to see. You don't have to put a lot of pressure on it. You don't have to crank on it or anything. It'll move very easily. But you have to rotate that lever about 30 to 45 degrees away from the back of the ejection port. Excuse me, the back of the magazine well, in order to release the sear. Once you do that, the takedown lever right here rotates down 90 degrees, just like this. Now sometimes that thing has a tendency to want to snap back up in place, just like this. An easy way to hold that down is to rotate the pistol in your hand so that your thumb is now holding that down, and you have your fingers wrapped around the back of the pistol. If you do this, it's very, very easy now to just pull back slightly on the slide and allow it to move forward off the frame, and you have now separated your slide, barrel, and recoil spring assembly from your frame. The frame requires no more takedown for basic cleaning and maintenance. By the way, if we look down in here now, we should be able to, if I can orient the pistol correctly, see this small lever. It's actually painted yellow right in here. In fact, I'm going to put the screwdriver tip right on it so you can see it. That's the lever right there that needs to be flipped down in order to deactivate the sear and allow you to take the slide forward. If you don't do that, it doesn't matter how many times you flip down the takedown lever, how much you pull, push, swear, anything else, it's not going to come off. You have to rotate that sear release lever forward in order to be able to remove the slide. As far as disassembling the slide, barrel assembly, and recoil spring assembly, this is very, very simple. Hold the slide upside down. The sights are on the bottom. The open portion of the slide is facing the ceiling. This will expose the recoil spring assembly. Push forward slightly on the rearmost portion of that. Lift up, and it will come out as one unit. You can then lift up on the rear portion of the barrel and work it back toward the rear, and it will come out of the slide. You have now disassembled the pistol as far as you will need to for basic cleaning and maintenance. Since I just fired my pistol recently, it does need to be cleaned, so I'll go into that in just a moment. Before I completely leave disassembly of the pistol, I do want to talk about disassembling the magazine. If you're shooting a lot, and particularly if you're dropping your magazines on the ground, if you're on an outdoor range particularly, but even on an indoor range, you should periodically clean your magazines. They are very simple to disassemble. On the bottom, in the middle of the magazine floor plate, there is what appears to be a small button. That is a pin, actually, for the magazine base retainer. If you take a punch and push down on that, and while holding it down, slide the base plate forward. Now keep your thumb over top of the magazine, or else it's going to come shooting out of there like a jack-in-the-box. Take that completely off, which will release the spring, and you can bring out the spring follower and the magazine base retainer all as one unit, which will leave you a hollow tube for the magazine. You don't have to do much normally as far as cleaning the spring and follower. If you want to take a toothbrush and just scrub off your follower, and you can wipe off the spring if you want to. Same thing with the base plate retainer here. But basically these don't require anything other than if your spring starts to get weak after several years of using it. The factory recommends 5 years or 5,000 rounds that you replace your magazine springs. But otherwise you shouldn't have to do much with that. The tube itself, take your toothbrush, scrub out the inside, take a cloth, wipe out the inside. Be careful that you don't really crank on your feed lips up here. You don't want to run any risk of damaging those. Once you've scrubbed it out, wiped it out, do not put any kind of lubricant, oil, or anything else on the inside of your magazine tube, because that could cause you problems with the primers of your ammunition. But once you have finished cleaning that, you can reinstall your magazine spring into the tube along with your follower. Now be careful, make sure the follower is going the right direction. These long sections on the back of the follower, you want to go toward the back of the magazine tube. It will go up in there, make sure it looks just like this. Push down on the magazine base plate retainer, just like that. You can hold it with your thumb. You can then start the base plate back on, slide it rearward, and you will hear the pin pop into place. You've now disassembled, cleaned, and reassembled your magazine. Okay, here are the disassembled subassemblies of your Smith & Wesson M&P pistol. They are the frame, the recoil spring assembly, the barrel assembly, slide assembly, and magazine assembly. Again, this is as far as you're going to need to disassemble this pistol for basic cleaning and maintenance. I'm going to do a quick reassembly, and it looks like since I'm restricted to 10 minutes for my YouTube videos, I'll probably have to do a second one on the actual cleaning of the M&P pistol. Okay, reassembly of your pistol, I could just say is in reverse order, which is one of the favorite things for people to do on these videos, but that sometimes doesn't exactly explain everything you need to know, so I will demonstrate reassembly. We'll start with the slide. Again, holding it upside down, the sights are on the bottom. I'm going to reinstall the barrel. Make sure that the cam surfaces are on the bottom of the barrel, or on the bottom of the barrel, or facing up. You're going to insert it muzzle first, and it will fall right into place, just like that. With your your recoil spring assembly, there is a hexagonal shaped nut at the front end of it. That is the front. That's what needs to go toward the front of your slide. The round silver shaped portion needs to go toward the rear, and it will seat into the recess when you push it forward and down right underneath the barrel, just like that, and it'll hold it in place. When you install it onto the slide, simply line up the rails with the grooves in the slide, slide it all the way to the rear. Go ahead, that same thing we were talking about before with the takedown lever. Hold it so you can hold that forward with your thumb, slide the slide all the way to the rear, then move your thumb to the slide stop, push it up, and it'll capture it in place. You can then rotate the takedown lever 90 degrees to the rear, and you have reassembled your pistol. Work the slide a few times, make sure everything is back the way it's supposed to go. The barrel is camming properly, the slide is moving properly, it's not binding. You do not have to reach down inside to reset that sear release lever. When you seat the magazine, that will automatically reset the sear release lever, and your pistol is now ready to fire. At this point, we'll go to part 2 and look at actually cleaning the M&P.